Hello everybody. In this video we are going to discuss about the deadlocks. Now what exactly you mean by deadlock? Deadlock is a condition where we are going to block the processing permanently. If we wanted to see it in the form of real life example, let us see here. As you can see, there are 4 cars arriving from the different directions at the intersection. And if they wanted to go straight, it is highly impossible unless the other car is moved. Hence, it is leading to the deadlocks. If we talk about the deadlock condition in the operating system, it is nothing but permanently blocking set of process which are competing for the resources or communicating with each other. Now let us discuss about the deadlock characterization. If you see the major characteristics of the deadlock situation, it will be the first one is the necessary conditions and the second one is resource allocation graph. Let us understand both these characteristics in detail. Starting from the necessary conditions. So if you wanted to check with the deadlock, there are 4 necessary conditions for a system to be in the deadlock. That means if any system is there in the deadlock, then these are the necessary conditions. Until and unless these conditions are held true, we cannot say that the system is in the deadlock. Okay, so now let us see what exactly you mean by the mutual exclusion. As we know that according to the mutual exclusion definition, only one process can use the resource at a particular time, and if any other process requests for the same resource, it should wait until the resource is released by the by the process which is holding it. Okay. Second one comes hold and wait. This is nothing but the resource which is held by the process currently. Okay, and there is one more point here, that the process holding one resource can request for the new resource concurrently. Okay, the third necessary condition is no preemption. As the name itself indicates, the resource cannot be released by the process unless the process has completed its task. And the last one is circular wait. Here, the process, whatever are existing, they should wait for the resource to be allocated which is held by the other process. Okay, if we wanted to understand these necessary conditions, let me show you with the help of a diagram where I am particularly showing you about the circular wait. So this is the condition, this is the diagram which is showing you the circular wait. Here you can see that there are 2 tasks, task T1 and task T2. Now task T1 is holding resource 2, that's why resource 2 is held by task 1, and task 1 by holding this resource 2 can request for resource 1. Similarly, as you can see the task 2, that is T2, it is holding the resource 1 and requesting for resource 2. And if you observe the circular wait diagram, this is simply indicating the hold and wait condition. Okay, where task T1 is holding the resource 2 and requesting for resource 1, which is held by task T2 and task T2 is requesting for resource 2, and both the tasks are not going to release the resources held by them unless they are getting the resource requested by them, hence leading to the deadlock. So overall we can say that all the 4 conditions are necessary for the deadlock to occur. The second characteristic of the deadlock is resource allocation graph. This resource allocation graph is basically a directed graph where we can understand the deadlocks in much better way. Before going for solving the example, let us see what are the things which we should keep in mind whenever we talk about the resource allocation graph. Whenever we talk about the graph, we know that the graph is containing the vertices and the set of edges. So, if you see the resource allocation graph features, the vertices can be of two types. One is nodes, which is indicated by P. P are nothing but the processes, and R, which are nothing but the resources. Okay, so any directed edge from process Pi to resource Rj is indicated by Pi Rj. That means process Pi is requesting for resource Rj. Similarly, any directed edge from resource Rj to Pi, it can be denoted by Rj towards Pi, that is pointing towards Pi, which indicates that that particular resource is held by the process Pi. You should keep this one in mind. Sorry. So, whenever we are talking about the process requesting for the resource, that is Pi towards Rj, we call it as request edge. And whenever we are showing the Rj towards Pi, it is indicating the assignment edge. Okay, and one more point you should remember here is that the process is represented always by the circle and resources by the rectangle. If you are having more than one instance of the resource, then we are going to represent it with a dot in the rectangle. Let us see the example of this resource allocation graph. Before starting with the example, let us see certain points related to the deadlock. The first thing is that if any graph, if it is not having any kind of cycle in it, that means that it is not having any kind of deadlock. But if in case, if any graph is containing cycle, it indicates that it may lead to deadlock. Okay, it may lead to deadlock. It is because if the resource has only one instance, then the presence of cycle in the graph will indicate the deadlock. Okay, if there are more than one instance of the resource, then it is not compulsory that the cycle may lead to the deadlock. You people have to keep in mind these points. Now let us go for the example. So in this video, totally I am going to show you the three examples. The first example is I am showing the graph where we don't have any kind of cycle. The second example where we are having a cycle in the graph and which is leading to the deadlock. And the third example is where we are having a cycle in the graph and also it is not leading to the deadlock. So let us start with the first example. So this is the example of resource allocation graph with no cycles. Now let us understand here. As you can see that process P1 is holding one of the instance of R2 and it is requesting for R1. Okay, similarly this resource R1 is held by process P2. Along with R1, P2 is also holding another instance of R2 because we are having two instances of resource R2. Fine. And by holding this resource R2 and R1 with it, P2 is requesting for resource R3. Okay. And this resource R3 is held by P3. Now, as you can see, there is no cycle present in this particular graph. Hence, there is no deadlock existence. Fine. Now, let us move for the other example here. I am showing you the resource allocation graph where the cycle exists and it is leading to the deadlock. Now here as you can see that the resource R1 is there which is held by process P2 and process P2 is also holding resource R2. Fine. Process P1 is holding another instance of R2. Okay, so now you can see here one of the other resources held by the two different processes. Okay, then by holding the resource R1 and one of the instance of R2, P2 is requesting for R3 resource. where this R3 resource is held by process P3. Now let us imagine that in a particular situation where P3 is requesting for R2. Now here it will lead to the cycle like R2 is held by P2 and P2 is held P2 is holding R3. R3 is requested by P3 and P3 is requesting R2. In another words, if we wanted to define that, P2 is holding the resource R2 and requesting for R3. R3 is held by P3 and P3 is requesting for R2, hence leading into the cycle. Now this cycle will lead to the deadlock because R2 will not release, P2 will not release this instance of R2 unless it is getting resource R3. This resource R3 is held by P3. So P3 is not going to release this resource R3 unless it is getting R2. So this condition will lead to the deadlock. Okay. So now let us move for the another example where I am showing you this the resource allocation graph where we are having a cycle but it will not lead to the deadlock. Let us see how it is happening. So now here you can see there is a cycle where process P1 is requesting for resource R1 which is having two instances and both the instances are held by process P2 and P3. Now holding this resource R1 with P3, P3 is requesting for R2. Okay, where both the instance of R2 is held by P4 and P1. Now here you can see there is a cycle between P1, P3, okay, and the resource they are requesting for is R1 and R2. Okay, but here it will not lead to the deadlock because P4, the process P4, because it is not requesting for any other resources. So once it has finished with the execution, it will release this instance of R2. Okay, and that released instance can be allocated to P3. Hence, though there is a cycle, but it will not lead to the deadlock. Hope you people have understood this, all the three type of examples. Now let us see what are the different methods, what are the different methods which we can use for handling the deadlock. The first method is ignore the problem. The second one is you just detect the deadlock and recover it, or you can go for dynamic avoidance, or you can go for deadlock prevention. Hope you people have understood this.